Sometime in the near future, all of us will hopefully be in charge of something. And when we are in charge of something, we'll be considered leaders. One skill that we need to develop as leaders is delegation. In the March 2011 edition of Army Magazine, Lieutenant General James Dubik describes for us in his article, Learning to Delegate, his approach to delegation and how it has helped him throughout his career. His intent with this article is that we can use his experience to help us develop our own approach to delegation. In this presentation, I intend to share that approach, apply practical applications with each step of that approach, and show how delegation can lead to an empowered workplace. General Dubik's simple and straightforward approach is laid out in easy to follow 5 steps. The first step being identify the task to be delegated and to whom it should be delegated. We need to remember that there's no need for us to do everything ourselves. That's the whole idea behind delegation, to share the workload. Our subordinates are more than capable of doing certain things, and oftentimes they can do many of the things that are assigned to us better than we can. Delegation also provides for us the opportunity for us to focus on the things that only we can do. Second step, we need to assign a task with its purpose and a timetable. What exactly is it we want them to do? Why do we want them to do it? What's the result we want to get? These are questions that we need to answer so our subordinates can understand the task that's at hand. It's very important that we write this step out. In writing it out, we're able to plainly see in front of us what we're getting ready to tell our subordinates. And we want to make sure that we communicate a clear, concise plan so that they can complete the task that we expect of them. The next step is to check on the progress of that task. This is very important because it shows that we trust them. We need to show up there and let them know, hey, we're in this with you. You're not the only ones doing this, and you're doing this for me. This builds that trust relationship because they know that they're not just doing something. They know that the task that they had to do has some importance to it. It gives it value. This is also a perfect time for us either to congratulate a person if they're doing well or correct them if they're doing something wrong. Which brings me to my next step. The fourth step is ensure corrective action is taken by the leader responsible for the task. For instance, if I give a task to someone below me, I'm going to go to the person that is in charge of that task. If there's something going wrong, I'll pull them aside and say, this is what's going wrong, this is what you need to do to fix it. Now go and fix it. It's not my job to go to one of his subordinates who's doing it wrong, because I did not assign the task to that subordinate. It is my job to talk to that person that I assigned the task to so he makes sure that the task is happening the way I want it to happen. The fifth step is repeat any of the steps as necessary. Sometimes you might have to check and make sure something's being done 2, 3, 4 times even. The whole point is that you're building that trust again. You're letting them know, hey, I know you're doing this task. You want to make sure you're doing it right? Let's make sure we're doing it the best we can. In the rest of the article, General Dubik describes how this process has helped him throughout his career, and more specifically as it helped him as a general. But for our purposes, I want to focus on the 5 steps because they're incredibly practical for us in our careers as is. Most importantly, what he wants us to take from it is that his experience can be a guide for us because we're eventually going to have to develop our own approach to delegation. We can't just go by his approach. Whenever we look at delegation and how it is an enabler for empowerment, we need to realize that proper delegation is the starting point for subordinate development. This is an opportunity that we give our subordinates to be creative. When we give them a task, they can do the task the way they need to do it. They can make plans, they can make actions, they can do what's necessary to see what happens. Again, this builds that trust. We have to also remember that when we give them a task, we're training them. They're eventually going to take our places. We're not always going to be in the superior role. And the subordinate needs to understand that he's eventually going to fulfill the role that we are in. Also, when we give our subordinate a task, it builds in them confidence. It shows them, hey, I know you can do this. Let's let you do this the way you want to do it. Confidence is a core value when it comes down to being being in an empowered environment. When someone has confidence, they believe they're capable of doing anything. Confidence is key to success in any workplace. In the end, delegation is a skill that when used correctly can take us far. Not using it can bring us to ruin. It'll give us stress. It'll give us chaos. We need to use our resources. We need to use our people. We need to develop their potential and build our trust and relationship with those people. All of these tasks that I just mentioned require delegation, and without them, we won't succeed. Thank you.